Hello, I'm BrigantiaBlackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Saturday and welcome to this week's Loki video in which we are focusing upon his son, Narvi. Narvi is also called Nari, and he is a minor deity of the Aesir. His parents are Loki and Sigyn. His full sibling is Vali. His half-siblings are, of course, Hel, the goddess of the dead, Jormungandr, the world serpent, Fenrir, the great wolf, and Sleipnir of the horse incident. There is another Narvi that's mentioned in the lore who is considered to be the father of Nott, who is the personification of the night. But sometimes his father, Nott, is also called Nor, and it's a little questionable, unknown whether or not this is the same Narvi who is also the son of Loki and Sigyn. So that is a very murky area. There's also a vague suggestion that Narvi may have had some association with dead or the underworld, but it isn't really solid enough to quite make sure, and the way it's referenced as being kind of this demon of the undead, it sounds a little bit more like a Christian perspective forced onto the lore rather than a reflection of the lore itself. So, Narvi's mythology is quite simple. We don't know all that much about him, apart from the manner of his death and the reason for it. After the death of Baldur, in which Loki played a starring role, and after Loki crashed a dinner party of the gods and threw all their faults in their faces, Loki became a fugitive. Eventually, the gods caught up with him, and they gathered together his wife Sigyn and their sons Narvi and Vali, and they took them to the cave that would serve as Loki's place of imprisonment. Vali was then transformed into a wolf that was aggressive, beyond reason, and could not recognize his own kin. Vali attacked Narvi and is described as rending him asunder, literally spilling his guts. That is a horrible form of death, particularly if you were suffering at the hands of a family member. And this, of course, was witnessed by Loki and Sigyn, who were powerless to take any action or prevent the destruction of their children. Narvi's intestines were then used as a rope to bind Loki to a rock, and once they were in place, they transformed into iron. This scene of horror is the sum total of our direct knowledge about Narvi. Everything else has been lost to time, and as of yet, I haven't found any sources online that describe any direct dealings that modern practitioners have had with Narvi to give us any further insight or guidance. It is striking to me how Loki's family was dragged into his punishment, and there's nothing to say that his wife or his sons played any role in Baldur's death or that they were even aware of what was going on at the time, and there's nothing to say that they had any kind of involvement during the other events that drove a wedge between Loki and the rest of the Aesir. Yet, they were all punished. Vali was forced to become his brother's executioner. Sigyn had to see one child transformed into a monster and the other brutalized as a victim, and her husband bound with the intestines of her own son. The idea to not involve the innocent in punishing the deeds of another person is actually quite a modern invention when we think about it. How often have people decided that they wanted to make someone suffer, and they did so by tormenting the loved ones of their target? When I read these stories, I try to put myself inside the shoes of all those who were present. In Narvi's case, all I can visualize is, my own brother, who's younger than myself, being transformed into the shape of a vicious wolf, and then just watching him charge at me before the final attack. The shock, the pain. I can't imagine what was worse in Narvi's final moments, and this was all over something that he didn't do. So, it's very hard to take anything good from this situation. It's very hard to see, what greater, grander purpose this served other than he was turned into the literal scratching post of people who were angry with his father. But it is part of the lore, and I think it's worth just meditating a little bit on and seeing maybe what we can glean. And if nothing else, I think it serves as a warning to not punish the innocent for things that we're upset with over other people. Allow any of our conflicts to be direct at the person who's actually at the source of that conflict rather than dragging in other people. So that's all I have to say about this rather sad affair. Let me know your own thoughts in the comment section below, or come see us on Discord at Blackbird's Brew. There's a link to join in the description box below. And one of the channels under Paganism by Pantheon, you'll see that there is a channel for Norse lore. So if you want to leave any thoughts about this or anything else having to do with Norse spirituality, leave them there for me, and I would love to have a conversation with you. But that'll do it for today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.